My name is Elijah McClain. I am Elijah's mother.
Shanine McClain never thought she'd be here.
I honestly don't think my anger is going to change. I think I'm always going to have that same level of being pissed off.
Smile!
Nearly a year ago, her 23-year-old son Elijah
Stop right there.
died just days after police confronted him as he walked home from a convenience store.
My name's Elijah McClain. This is good home.
His family calls it excessive force. Officials called it justified. Elijah's case was closed, disappearing from headlines until now.
To be clear, I'm actually not just calling it assault, I'm calling this murder.
In the wake of George Floyd's death in police custody, protests have filled streets from coast to coast, even in Elijah's home state of Colorado.
It hurts. Everybody's screaming names now, but I'm like, last year it would have made a big difference.
The George Floyd case was a game changer, and that opened up the door for questioning all sorts of stuff when it comes to law enforcement.
Now crowds are also chanting Elijah's name. This weekend, demonstrations shut down a highway in Colorado. Police used pepper spray to break up a peaceful vigil in his hometown.
The fact that it always takes a public struggle speaks to the failure of the system to provide swift justice. And for many people, justice delayed is, in fact, justice denied.
He was always an introvert. He was always one to observe.
No way, this is a luau party.
Shanine says Elijah channeled his shy nature by expressing himself through art.
He loved knowledge. That's how he taught himself how to play the instruments, the violin. It was amazing to see him so enchanted with his own skill.
By last year, McClain was working as a massage therapist. He had plans to go to college. Those who knew him described him as gentle. On the night of August 24th, 2019, Elijah went to a convenience store. You can see him in the store surveillance video wearing a ski mask, something his family says that he did because he had anemia, a blood condition that can make the person become cold easily. What McClain didn't know was that someone called 911 to report a suspicious person.
She looks sketchy. I don't see my
Okay.
a good person or a bad person.
Yeah. Were any weapons involved or mentioned?
No.
Are you or anyone else in danger right now?
No.
There was nothing about the 911 call that suggested that there was an urgent and violent situation that needed an urgent and violent response. Essentially, they reported a black guy who was outside.
As Elijah walked home, he was stopped by 3 Aurora police officers.
Do me a favor, stop right there.
Nathan Woodyard, Jason Rosenblatt, and Randy Redema.
Stop. 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 I have a right to stop you because you're being suspicious.
The officers immediately grab Elijah.
No, I am an introvert. Please respect the boundaries that I am speaking. Relax. Stop. Leave me alone.
No, we're gonna talk to
You
you.
guys started to arrest me, and I was stopping my music to listen. Now let go of me.
Within moments, 2 of the officers' body cameras fall off. The third camera captures a bit more of the struggle before it ends up in the grass. Civil rights attorney Mari Newman represents the McClain family.
There was absolutely no reason legally why the officers should have stopped him in the first place. They grabbed him, they tackled him, and they threw him to the ground.
Just 2 minutes into the video, you hear Elijah say 3 fateful words, words that have now become a national rallying cry.
Relax. Just relax. Relax.
I can't breathe. This is the same thing that Eric Garner said. This is the same thing that George Floyd would say. This refrain, I can't breathe, is not only a desperate cry for help, but it's a kind of request to allow some form of mercy and humane treatment in the midst of what becomes a death sequence.
The officers reported that 2 times they used a carotid restraint, more commonly known as a chokehold.
That's what I was doing. I was just going home.
He's begging for his life. He's saying things like, I'm a pacifist, I'm a vegetarian, I don't have guns, I don't do those kinds of things.
I don't judge people for anything.
It's absolutely heart-wrenching listening to it.
The officers said Elijah resisted contact, and during the struggle, they claim he reached for one of the officers' guns. Dave Young is the district attorney covering the city of Aurora.
What I have to do is I have to look at the facts that are in front of me. I have to look at those facts as a police officer's perspective, because I know the investigations. I know the tragedy of this death to Mr. McClain and his family. But at the time, the officers knew nothing about Mr. McClain. All they knew is there was a 911 call. We need to investigate the suspicious person. They went to go do that, and things escalated to where we all know happened.
Look at this.
Eventually, the officers all recovered their fallen body cameras.
That's mine.
Stop. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Oh, wasn't trying to do that. I can't breathe correctly because...
The McClain family believes the lack of clear body camera footage was intentional.
In the video, you can hear another officer who comes on the scene later picking up a body camera and tries to give it back to one of the officers. That officer says, "Get that away from me, dude."
Move your camera, dude.
So he's intentionally trying to stay off of the body camera as they inflict multiple different kinds of force on Elijah McClain.
When the EMTs arrived, they dosed the 140-pound Elijah with ketamine, a powerful sedative. After they loaded him into the ambulance, Elijah had a heart attack. He was rushed to the hospital and put on life support. Shanine says these photos show Elijah's physical injuries. Eventually, doctors declared him brain dead. 3 days later, he was taken off life support.
Bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh. That was a part of me. There's no way to put a Band-Aid on that. He's always gonna be gone. So there's no way. I can forgive, but I'm not gonna ever forget.
DA Dave Young was in charge of determining if any charges would be filed.
Look, I don't condone the officers' actions out there. In fact, I wish they would have done things differently. If someone's saying, "I can't breathe," get off of him. Do it. Just get off of him. But again, that I have no indication led to the cause of Mr. McClain's death.
After 3 months, Young issued his decision, clearing the officers of any wrongdoing. Do you stand by your decision not to charge the officers?
Yes, I stand by my decision, and it's unfortunate that people feel that by voicing their opinions that's going to change the facts on the law of a certain investigation.
But do you believe that the officers' actions ultimately led to Mr. McClain's death?
That I don't know. In my business, I've got to know that answer because the burden of proof is on me. And if I can't prove to a jury of 12 that there's actions caused his death, then I cannot file criminal charges.
White men with weapons often get arrested without any violence. Look at James Holmes, a white man who was a mass murderer, was able to be arrested without incident. Somehow, when it comes to white suspects, police manage to locate a level of discipline and care and patience that they don't for black suspects, even ones who are unarmed.
That's the issue that galvanized the nation after seeing video of George Floyd's arrest. Since then, increasing demands for justice in older cases like Elijah's. Last Thursday, Colorado's governor appointed the state's attorney general as a special prosecutor to investigate Elijah McClain's death and potentially file charges.
Public outcry matters. When people pay attention and hold institutions accountable, those institutions will respond differently than if nobody's watching.
All 3 officers, Woodyard, Rosenblatt, and Rodema, have been taken off enforcement duties and reassigned.
Justice to me is conviction. They need to suffer. Life in prison would be great for me, honestly. They need to be convicted for what they did because it was unjust. It was unjust.
Shireen now realizes Elijah has become much more than just her son. He's become a symbol.
We're going to keep saying his name. We're going to shout it even louder every day. All lives can't matter if black lives don't matter. The revolution is now. Ain't no more waiting for it.
Hi everyone, George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.